This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only.
We're gonna start with an apple fritter, get it going, man. I'm hungry as hell. Huh? We got them chicken nuggets right there, that boy. Huh? We got that, ooh, Big Mac like that boy.
Hey guys, Big Paul here today. I want to talk about that guy, Cali Muscle, and his heart attack. Cali Muscle's been all over YouTube blaming steroids for his heart attack, and all the YouTube pontificators have latched onto it. Steroids kill, steroids kill, steroids kill. But nobody's talking about his bullshit diet that he ate. Slamming buckets of fried chicken, eating fucking fast food all day long, eating like an absolute asshole. That didn't play a factor into his coronary artery blockage, did it? We're going to dig into it today.
Yeah, bye. Ooh, we got some egg McMuffins here. I'm gonna say one for Hyphy Whitey. Ooh, bye. We got that, boy. We got two of them, boy. Which ain't gonna be enough. I'm still gonna be hungry. Damn. So we gonna eat after this, too.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Did they give us some syrup, bro?
I hope so, bro. Shoot.
So here we go, guys. The Wendy's new meal. The Pretzel Pub Baconator Burger. With crispy fries, so succulent. With the succulent Coca-Cola.
All right, so I just cringe when I watch what this dude eats. It is unfucking believable. I mean, just unreal. I mean, half his videos, this is probably why he got famous on YouTube, because half his damn videos are him just eating ridiculous amounts of fast food and being lean. And it is a reminder, just because you're lean doesn't mean you're healthy. And it cracks me up that it's steroids. It's not the 800 grams of fat he's eating every day that causes coronary artery blockage. It's absolutely unfucking real to me that nobody even brings this up. I haven't seen any of the YouTube influencers bring it up. Nobody talks about it. This dude his diet is absolute trash. I hope for his own sake that he's gotten it cleaned up, but there is no way that you can eat that way, sustain it, and not have problems eventually. It's like smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day and then blaming the cancer that you get down the road on diet soda. It wasn't the diet soda that caused the cancer. It was the fucking 3 packs of cigarettes that you smoked every day. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And the mental gymnastics that people will go to justify eating shitty, high-fat, high-cholesterol diets just blows my mind. I argue with guys in my comment section all the time about it. Now, with that said, I'm going to put this stamp on it, this caveat. Steroids do have a negative impact on your cardiovascular health. And that is undeniable, especially, certain ones are worse than others, especially oral steroids, which absolutely destroy your lipids. And if you're eating a shit diet, like Cali Muscle did, and he was probably hammering Anadrol and all these different oral steroids, he looks like an Anadrol and trend guy to me, or a Winstrol and trend guy, something, I don't know. But, you're hammering shit like that, and then your lipids are going to be fucking awful. Put high blood pressure on top of it, the increased clotting factors that go along with it, and you're just asking for it. You've created the perfect environment for a cardiovascular event. I doubt he was doing anything to prevent any of this from happening. I mean, he even said it, like how he avoided going to the doctor. He didn't get checkups done. He wasn't looking at his blood work. He clearly, even if he had just went in and had a calcium CT score done, they would have seen the coronary artery blockage, and he could have went in and had a stent done before he had a heart attack. He's lucky he didn't die. I don't know how he didn't die. Usually people that have I believe he had a 100% blockage of his coronary artery. They call that the widowmaker. Usually you're dead. That's not one you come back from. I don't know how he survived from it. And it may still catch up with him. A lot of times, you know, the reoccurrence of happening again after you've had it is pretty high. But this was, you know, certainly steroids exacerbated it, but, you know, it was not the steroids that caused it. It was his shit garbage diet that caused his coronary artery blockage. Coronary artery blockages are almost always caused by shit diets. Now there's some genetic components in it. Some people seem to have certain genetic defenses built in where they can eat like shit and get away with it, but then other people don't. You know, it's like the guy that smokes cigarettes his entire life and doesn't end up with lung cancer. You can't use him as the established norm. So I know a lot of dudes like to cite these studies that, you know, I see them all the time. Guys will send them to me where the 10-year risk of cardiovascular disease and coronary artery blockages is low for people with high cholesterol versus ones that don't have. That is true. That is true. But what they're not looking at is the long-term data. This is a cumulative thing that happens over a period of time. And I'm going to show, you know, if you look here on the screen, you'll see the graphs. This is from the American Heart Association. And you can see as it goes up, as you hit the 20-year, the 30-year mark, the studies show that elevated HDL, you greatly increase your chances of having a coronary artery blockage or cardiovascular disease. You can see it exponentially increases as you get older. I would assume that it's the same way with smoking cigarettes. People generally don't die from lung cancer from cigarettes after 10 years. It is a cumulative. Same thing with drinking. People don't die of liver cirrhosis after 10 years of heavy drinking. It takes decades of it, and it's a cumulative thing. Now, you throw PEDs into this mix, and you're compounding it even more because, you know, we know that PEDs by themselves skew lipids, and, you know, you have the other risk factors as well, such as increased blood pressure, and, you know, issues with hematocrit where your blood viscosity is, you know, like basically like fucking motor oil, and it just compounds all of this shit. And, you know, these guys that's why a lot of these guys end up having heart attacks. I mean, Dallas McCarver had a coronary artery blockage when he was in his 20s. Now, somebody that young, it most likely was a genetic thing, but still, it's just something to keep in mind. These guys that just justify these high-fat diets in taking PEDs, it is just butt stupid. So let's think about high diets, high saturated fat diets. I get guys that argue with me all the time about, you know, I keep my diets when I work with people, I keep them very low fat. And I get guys that argue with me about the fat being too low in these diets. So if you take the time to think about it critically, and take a step back and look at the diet, what do you need saturated fats for in your diet? The saturated fats really don't have much of a role in improving your physique. None. They have none. They really, same thing with cholesterol. Guys like to say, oh, you know, you need the cholesterol for hormone production. If you're taking exogenous hormones, you don't need to make your own. You don't need to make your own steroidal hormones. You're taking them exogenously. So, and it doesn't take that much cholesterol to do it. You know, an egg a day would probably be more than enough and most people are getting way more cholesterol in than what they need. There is a serious disconnect with people. You know, the typical American diet is not lacking in fat or cholesterol. That is not an issue in the typical American diet. People overeat fat and cholesterol. That's why we have such high incidences of cardiovascular disease here in the U.S., plus the sedentary lifestyle on top of it, and other secondary risk factors such as smoking and drinking, and in our case, PED use. You know, these all compounded. So let's think about it. Why would you even have a high-fat diet? We eat enough essential fats to get what we need. That's it, okay? We don't go beyond that. And it doesn't take much as far as EFAs. EFAs are important for certain metabolic processes, and your body can't make them on their own. So we need to get some of those through dietary sources. But we don't need a ton. we really don't need saturated fat. You know, saturated fat's not an essential fat, so you don't need it. So we want to keep that as low as possible. We want to keep our protein sources as low in fat as we possibly can, because it generally tends to be saturated fats. So we want to keep those as low as possible. And then as far as body composition, if you're eating carbs and you're eating protein and you have excess amount of carbs, where do you think all those saturated fats go to? Your body's not using it to make muscle. They just get stored as body fat. If your body wants to burn carbohydrates first as energy. So all those excess fats that you're eating just get stored as fucking fat anyway. So they're useless. They're really useless. And all they are doing is increasing risk factors. It's analogous to riding a motorcycle without a helmet and then wondering why you get your fucking head mashed when you go down in an accident. So just in summary, why take the chance? I think guys, like, they'll jump through these mental hoops and all these mental gymnastics to justify eating like shit. Basically, you know, the dirty bulk does nothing for you. It's just going to make you fat, you know. And unless you're a strength athlete, there's really, you know, we're physique athletes, so we want to keep our body fat as low as possible. For strength athletes, it's different because there is some leverage and there's some competitive advantage to having some additional body fat. You know, we can argue the health ramifications of it, but for physique athletes, we don't need that. We want to stay as lean as possible. So why not keep your diet as low in saturated fats as possible, as low in cholesterol as possible? There is no compelling argument that you can make for running a high-fat, high cholesterol diet for a physique athlete. You're just increasing risk, and you're making yourself fat at the same time. It makes no sense. And circling back to it, this is, you know, it's maddening to me. And I'm not saying that PEDs didn't play some role in Cali Muscle's heart attack, but it was not, you know. Dudes are fucking falling over dead from coronary artery blockages all the time in their 40s from eating like shit. And they're not, you know, there's all kinds of guys, you know, it starts happening in your 40s. That's why, you know, if you look back at that chart, it's 20, 30 years of doing this shit is where it catches up with you. That's where it exponentially increases. So if you start eating like shit when you're a teenager and you look at the curve on that chart, when does that catch you? In your 40s, you know, if you've been eating like an asshole since you were 16, you know, it's your mid-40s when the shit catches up with you. When you exponentially increase your chances of having a cardiovascular event or a coronary artery blockage. It happens over time. And you probably speed it up with taking the PEDs. It's definitely like dumping gas on the fire. But it's just stupid. You know, don't do it, guys. And Cali Muscle's not helping people by saying it was steroids. And I'm not saying steroids are without harm. They certainly do carry their own risk. But I would be willing to bet my paycheck that this motherfucker would have had a coronary artery blockage with or without steroids. And maybe it would have just happened a little later. Might have been a year or two down the road. But you can't eat the way he ate and not pay the price for it at some point. You just can't. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.